So I do want to make an observation from yesterday. So hello, welcome to the vlog. It's Sunday morning and I have just arrived at church. Looks like I'm the first one here, and let's get the keys and open up. So it is not unusual for me to be the first person here on a Sunday morning. Switch things on, maybe sweep the floor, maybe put the chairs out, maybe set some things up. Today is not a completely usual Sunday morning in the sense that yesterday we had a day of prayer here. There were 30 people here from all over the country. That's because the church that this church is part of, or the group of churches it's part of, is called the Evangelical Church of Bosnia and Herzegovina, or ECB, as the shorthand in this language goes. And ECB is having a year of prayer for Bosnia and Herzegovina, and as part of that, different churches around the country in different months of the year are hosting a day of prayer in their town to focus prayer specifically on where they are and the things they're doing in their community and that kind of stuff. And so it was our turn yesterday to host people who came here to pray for what's going on here, the sort of work we're involved in, the town here, for the people here, for the church generally in the country, for the good of everybody who's here. And it was a really, really good day. It was great to see this room here packed full of people. It was great to be part of praying together and singing together, worshipping together. And yeah, because of that, things I usually have to do on a Sunday morning, or would usually do, getting the projector out and that kind of thing, I don't need to do. All of this is set up still. I'm good. I'm ahead of schedule. I will tune the guitar though. So I do want to make an observation from yesterday, and I'm not sure exactly who you are, where exactly in the world you're watching this. I know some of you are watching from here in Jajce. I know some of you are watching in the UK. Beyond that, I don't really know where you are. But particularly for those of you in the UK, when we talk about church, we probably have a certain size in mind, and that's going to depend on your own church experience. But I think from a UK perspective, if I said, it was super exciting to hear the sound of 30 people singing together, that might sound a little bit strange, like 30 people. I know some people don't think a church is a church until you got 50 or something like that. There's definitely a sort of a numbers hierarchy that can go on in what is church type conversations. I've got to be honest, I don't know all the numbers of everywhere, but the things I've been hearing, especially over the past couple of months, is I don't think anyone's anywhere close to that. Numbers are very small and people really feel that, which isn't a fun thing to talk about. It's a serious thing. And so maybe for some of you in the UK this is a bit hard to wrap your head around, but yeah, like, you could be a Protestant believer here who regularly goes to your church in your local town, and your kind of community or worship experience is you and maybe a dozen other people, and that's it. That's the world that you live in terms of your faith and how you worship and what church means to you. And that's small. It's really small. And so it's understandable why people can feel very much like outsiders. Not only does society to tell them that they're just the others, they're not important, but that sense of, wow, I don't know many other people in my town and my community who share the faith that I share, who worship in the way that I worship. So days like we had yesterday, and the gatherings that are happening throughout the year here in different towns and in different churches across Bosnia and Herzegovina, are so important as a way of encouraging people. And so it might be hard if you're watching this in the UK to go, oh my goodness, you had a prayer day and 30 people came, and people think that's really exciting, like why weren't there 300? If you had 300 people gathered here in Bosnia and Herzegovina, you'd have gathered probably most of the believers who are regularly in a Protestant church on a Sunday morning. Years ago when I was playing music in England, like, we regularly had 800 people in a church meeting. Sometimes there were 1,000 people. Different times there were 500 people or 300 people, but it was normal to be counting in the hundreds of people, and to know what that feels like when there's prayer and when there's worship going on, and to know what it's like when that feels exciting. I've got to be honest, like yesterday in the room, 30 people, it can be just as exciting when what's happening is just as important. And I think it was just a really good reminder for me, like, from some perspectives, like we've got to be really careful on the numbers game. It's an understandable question, because how many people are coming to church, has things grown? All of those are important things to think about, but also what's actually happening, what's the quality of it, what's God doing? Those are important things too. Yesterday in here, it really did feel like God was doing something. It felt like people were praying, they were worshipping and being honest with God. They were expressing their heart to see good things happen in this country, and that's important. So this morning, Mladen from the church in Breza was speaking in the church here, and he was here yesterday on the prayer day, and when he started off his sermon, he was talking about how it's easy to feel like we're part of something small. He read from Revelation chapter 7, or quoted from it, and it says something like this. Well, it says this because I'm reading it. After this, I saw a vast crowd, too great to count, from every nation and tribe and people and language, standing in front of the throne and before the Lamb. They were clothed in white robes and held palm branches in their hands, and they were shouting with a great roar. And it goes on and on about that. And that is an encouragement and a reminder that however small the situation that we find ourselves in, when we're praising and worshipping God, we're doing that together with a much greater group of people. And so that was a real encouragement, and I thought it was great that he kicked off his sermon with that, having me talk to you about that on the vlog, and that sense of smallness and the struggle with that. And it's not to say that the struggle isn't real, but it is to say that there's a picture there that we need to have. And then he said, as he stood there yesterday, as the worship was going on, as the singing was going on, he had that sense, he saw that kind of picture in his mind's eye of what was going on, and that sense of the little thing that we're doing here is part of something so much bigger. And so, yeah, I'm encouraged by that. I think people here are encouraged by that. And it is an encouragement that not everything, or the reality of what we're doing is not necessarily only what we physically see. There's a bigger reality going on. Anyway, that'll do. So that's it for this week's vlog. All that remains for me is to pack some of this stuff away and go home. So thanks very much for watching. Do give us a big thumbs up for Sunday morning. Do leave a comment or question if you want to know more, and do remember that together we do adventure. We'll see you next time.